asexuality and all things asexual, and I share my own asexual life journey in order to help you in yours. So subscribe and hit the bell icon right now. So, did you know that all sexual orientations have universal relationship problems? If you don't, or if you want to know more, then please continue to watch this video, because that's what we're going to dive into today. First of all, if you didn't know who I am, I'm Sandra Bellamy, author of this wonderful Asexual Perspectives book, bestseller out on Amazon, and also of Diary Confessions of a Hyper-Romantic Asexual, 78 Life Lessons to Ace Your Life, available on Amazon. That's also a bestseller. And Fibromyalgia Self-Help Handbook. So check out those books on Amazon. So let's begin. Hello, Liv. Nice to see you. So I was in an online membership coaching session tonight, and I was really not happy that someone in the chat was saying something very inappropriate to someone on the LGBT plus QIA spectrum. This person was a lesbian. And I can't reveal everything they said or anything like that. It's confidential information. But this particular person suggested that the problem might be to try another gender than they're actually attracted to. And so I was sticking up for them. I can't say any more than that because it's private. But I want to emphasize how important it is to understand that every sexual orientation has universal problems. Of course, people on the LGBT plus QIA spectrum, including asexuals, the A stands for asexual and some other things, depending on what your view is. Yeah, it definitely stands for asexual, but some people think it stands for aromantic, agender, and other things as well, and allies. So wherever you fall on the LGBT plus QIA spectrum, you also have additional relationship issues because obviously you're a minority sexual orientation. But the main point I want to drive here is all people of different sexual orientations have universal relationship problems. So to actually state to someone, maybe their problem is they haven't had sex with the stereotypical gender they're meant to have sex with, well, have a relationship with, try someone, you know what I mean, any of the above, then, you know, that's where the problem is. Like, they're a problem that needs fixing. That is totally unacceptable and is very disrespectful, very dismissive, right? Someone's problems, relationship problems that they have in the relationship are not to do with the fact that they're a lesbian seeing another lesbian, or a gay guy seeing another gay guy, or a heterosexual person seeing another heterosexual person, right? They are problems that we all face in society and as a world as a whole, and we should be supportive and respectful excuse me, of different people's sexual orientations. Hi, nice to see you. So we all have universal things that we need in relationships. We need connection. No matter whether you're asexual, lesbian, gay, heterosexual, bisexual, pansexual, we all need connection. We all seek connection. Many of us seek love, whether that's a family love, whether that's a friendship love, whether that's a romantic type of love. We all usually seek some type of love or want to feel loved in some way. We want to feel like we mean something to someone and to people. We want to feel like we have some purpose here in life. These are universal themes, universal things we need. Doesn't matter whether you're lesbian or gay or asexual or heterosexual, we all need these things. So instead of criticizing someone's relationship way of being because they, you know, problems they have based on their sexual orientation is really wrong, right? It's not got anything to do with specifically their sexual orientation. They can have those same problems regardless of any sexual orientation they've been in terms of things like connection, honesty, compassion, loyalty, love, all these types of things. These are universal themes. Security in a relationship, space in a relationship, right? These are fundamental things that relate to all of us. And we need some compassion and understanding that love is love, whatever sexual orientation you are. See you from North Korea. Oh, you're in North Korea, huh? Are you? Lots of love. I'm in the UK. So, of course, there's more things that to take into consideration when you're a sexual minority, right? It's harder to find someone for a relationship when you're in a minority sexual orientation because you've got less people to choose from, right? Less people, especially if, you know, like, if you're a lesbian, you've only got women. But then heterosexuals have usually only got the opposite gender, right? But there's more heterosexuals. There's more people to go around. So there are universal things. And I do not like someone saying to someone the problem is because they're a specific sexual orientation, that's the problem in the relationship. Like, I've had relationships with guys, and it's not been because I'm asexual that I've split up with them. It's because they've been narcissistic. It's because they've used my anxiety against me. It's because they've had outbursts which are unsafe for me. These types of things. That's not to do with my sexual orientation. That's to do with behaviour that I find offensive or is going to harm me. So I'm going to walk away from that. You know, and sometimes it's had to be like, I haven't had an asexual boyfriend before, but sometimes it's asexual friends I've had to, or that we've parted. Do you know what I mean? From each other. So this doesn't just mean like, you know, it's heterosexuals or lesbians or gays that have these problems. We all have these problems, right? So we need some compassion. I get you 100%, there's Stephen. Thank you, Stephen. So I think it's very, very important that we understand and have compassion for each other. It's not appropriate to say to a gay guy, oh, try a woman. Like, have sex with a woman. That will solve all your problems. It's like, no, if they're gay, having sex with a woman is not going to solve their problems. It's just going to harm them because you're trying to force a gender on them that they're not even attracted to. Same with a lesbian. Telling a lesbian, oh, try a guy. You know, it might be better. It's just so rude and ignorant and disrespectful, right? And telling an asexual, you know, things like, you haven't had my dick yet. This disgusting stuff, right? Excuse the, you know, the unfilteredness there. Do you know what I mean? Like, try mine, you know? I'm sure you'll change your mind. It's not about mind. It's about my sexual orientation. It's who I am, not attracted to. I'm not attracted to anyone, but I am attracted in sexual terms. I'm not attracted to anyone sexually, but I am attracted to guys in lots of other ways. Some guys have said to me they think I'm a lesbian because I don't want sex with guys. It's like, no, I'm not a lesbian. I have lesbian friends that I've known of. Knew someone from school. I didn't know she was a lesbian at school. She was into a guy, actually, at school. So it's quite surprising when I found out later on that she's always liked women. I guess she hid it at school. So brave talking about this, especially when woke people. So I think it's just really, really important to know that we all have problems in relationships, and you can't blame it on the fact that someone's only attracted to a specific gender as a problem. Otherwise, you could say every heterosexual that's not trying to be gay and not trying to be lesbian is wrong as well. And that's why they've got the problem. You know, if I said to a heterosexual woman, like, why don't you just try being a lesbian? Or I said to a guy, why don't you just try being gay? You know, you might have a much better experience. Like, how bad would that feel to you as a heterosexual person? You'd be like, what the F? Like, why would they even suggest that to me? Oh, that's not who I am, right? That's not going to solve your problem, right? So, you know, you can't go around saying that to people of a minority sexual orientation. You shouldn't treat people how you don't want to be treated. You are the most beautiful lady. Talk about something relevant openly. Love you. Oh, thank you, Motor Videos. Motorola? Is it Motoro Videos? I think it is. So I think it's very important, like, you know, like, there's a myth that asexuals don't want connection, right? But we do. A lot of us still like, not every one of us, but a lot of us still like physical contact and affection. Many of us, not all of us, many of us don't want the actual sex, but we still want to hold hands, we still want to cuddle, we still want to kiss. Even some people that are non-romantic on the asexual spectrum, they still like hugs. Not all, but some. And even some of those still want relationships. There's less, because there's a lot more people in the asexual community that are aromantic, or aromantic as I usually pronounce it, that are absent of romantic attraction as well as sexual attraction. And so they don't necessarily feel they need a relationship, and that's fine. Not everyone needs a relationship, but a lot of people, even the non-romantic ones, they still want really deep connections, like with their friends. They want it really, really deep connection with their friends. Some of them even like to share a bed with each other or cuddle up on the couch together. And I personally only do that type of thing in a relationship. I would never be in a bed with someone. I find it hard to even be in bed with someone in a relationship, because I just can't usually sleep next to them for hours. It's like I can't really live with someone because I just can't sleep in the same bed, and I do like living in separate places as well. But some asexuals like sharing a bed. Some asexuals just like sharing a bed while not even being in a relationship. So I think it's what is asexuality among, I don't know what among humans. Asexuality among humans. Oh, I get your question now, because most people associate asexuality with some amoeba or something. Yeah. So asexuality is a sexual orientation that is based on the lack of sexual attraction. So unlike the rest of the LGBT plus community, who is still sexually attracted to people, just not in the usual stereotypical way, as a general rule, asexuals are absent of sexual attraction. If they're a pure asexual like me, they don't experience any sexual attraction whatsoever to any gender. So that means I don't look at anyone and think, oh, I want sex with you. That doesn't enter my head. I'm not wired that way. I don't feel that way. And I don't have that innate need, desire, want, or urge at all. And so there's also something called a grey asexual person. Now, a grey asexual falls within something called the asexuality spectrum, because asexuality is the orientation that asexuals belong to. But asexuality comprises of like pure asexuals and grey asexuals along a spectrum. And so grey asexuals are people who usually do experience sexual attraction, but only under limited, rare, or specific circumstances, or they experience it but not enough to want to act on it. So you've got two types of grey asexuals: those that only experience it like infrequently, only with certain people, and like, for example, a demisexual person is actually a grey asexual person. So grey asexuality is an umbrella term in itself. And demisexual person is someone who can only experience sexual attraction when a deep emotional bond has been formed, usually maintained and sustained in a reciprocal manner. And so some people like separate asexuality from grey asexuality and demisexuality, but demisexuality is actually under the grey asexual spectrum, because grey asexuality includes those people who only experience sexual attraction under limited, rare, or specific circumstances. And that's what the demisexual falls into. The demisexual person can only experience sexual attraction when a deep emotional bond has been formed. This is not the same as a person choosing to have an emotional bond before sex, or, they want it to be present. It's not a preference. It's something they cannot actually do. They're incapable of doing it. So from the demisexuals that I spoke to, they usually need it reciprocated in order to maintain that sexual connection, if you know what I mean, that sexual attraction, because otherwise they don't experience it at all. They're like a pure asexual the rest of the time, in the sense they don't experience it at all, but they're not pure asexual because they're capable of experiencing sexual attraction under limited, rare, or specific circumstances. So I hope that's made sense. If you just think of it like pure asexual, grey asexual, and the grey asexuals and demisexuals fit under the grey asexual spectrum part of the asexual spectrum. But then, the grey asexuals, demisexuals come before the sexual spectrum, where you've got heterosexuals, pansexuals, bisexuals, homosexuals. So yeah, and some asexuals are non-romantic, called aromantics, or aromantic as most people pronounce them. And some asexuals are romantics. I'm romantic, but I'm rare because I'm a hyper-romantic. There are not many hyper-romantics I've come across. And I'm a hyper kisser, and I don't know anyone of any sexual orientation so far that I've come across who's a hyper kisser at all. I don't know of anyone in the world. I mean, there must be some people, surely, but so far I'm the only one I know of. And I keep talking about it, and no one's come and said they're hyper kisser. Most asexuals are not into kissing that much. They're more into hugging. So most asexuals, you know, they just like a peck on the cheek or a little kiss. I just liked you already. Oh, thank you. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon and thumbs up if you like this video. One more question. Is it because of hormonal changes or is it because of personal choice? Neither. Asexuality has got absolutely nothing to do with hormonal changes or personal choice. If you say that to asexuals, they actually find it very insulting, right? So I want you to get your head around this. Asexuality is a genuine sexual orientation that's based on the lack of sexual attraction. So for all the people who are heterosexual here, right, I could say to you, is it your hormones that make you heterosexual? Like when you hit puberty, is that what made you heterosexual as opposed to not feeling any sexual urges? So is it hormone changes for you that made you heterosexual? See what I mean? How does that feel? Does it feel a nice question for me to ask you? Does it feel like I'm trying to dismiss your identity? Does it mean I'm trying to like figure you out, like there's some problem with you? Because that's how asexuals feel when they're asked these questions. There's absolutely nothing wrong with my hormones. I have actual high arousal levels, 0 sexual attraction, but not all asexuals are like that, you know? So, and it's not a personal choice. Like it's not the same as abstaining and it's not the same as celibacy. This is a mistake that a lot of people do make. They're like, oh, that person's just celibate, just, you know, or they've got to that time in their life. It's like, no, right? I still have regular periods as an asexual person, just in case you're wondering if asexuals have periods. Yeah, I still have regular periods. And like I said, I experience high arousal levels, just 0 sexual attraction. Excuse me. So for me, my arousal is not anything to do with having sex with someone. Like my arousal is usually for kissing and thinking about kissing or doing things with myself, not another person involved. So that's a big difference. And some asexuals have high libido, like sex drive, but it's not aimed at anyone. I hope that's making sense. So yeah. Thank you, ma'am, for explaining. It means a lot. Love from India. If ever you come to India, do leave me a message. Love from Dr. Sarav. That's a nice name. I do like India. I like Indian guys, in case you didn't know that already, but I have no plans to go to India whatsoever. So, yeah. I get a lot of offers. My nose is itching. So, I'm going to switch you around a minute so I can take care of my nose itching with a tissue. Live on the live stream. This is my channel. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. And hit the bell icon. And just to give you a quick tour of my channel here. Here's the home page. I'm live with you at the moment. You can see all different videos here. 8 asexual attraction series. Please do watch that if you're new to asexuality. You can play all. It's a playlist. So that can give you a lot of information. This is popular videos about asexuality, the majority of them. This is asexual perspectives. These are like little videos taken from my book. And no sex movie reviews. I haven't updated this much recently because I haven't done many reviews, even though I'm watching a lot of movies. So I will need to update that at some point too. I've been quite ill over the last weeks, but I'm a lot better than what I was. This was a UK asexuality conference when I spoke at that. 2018 that was. And this is Asexual Perspective, shorts on love, life and sex. So again, do check it out. This is from my Asexual Perspectives book. So I did mention at the beginning of this live stream to make sure you go and get a copy of this. You know, this talks about love, life, and sex from an asexual point of view. So if you've got loads of questions, grab a copy of this book, even if you're not asexual, because it will really help you understand. Because in this book, I speak about, like, well, I ask loads of different asexuals, 46 besides myself, like what asexuality means to them, and the difference between sexual arousal, sexual desire, and attraction, things like that, you know, and do asexuals masturbate or watch porn? All these types of questions and answers are in this book. So do check it out, because it's really, really important. Do you know what I mean? I described to you. Oh, thank you. So you are not sexually attracted to a man. Is that what asexual means? No, asexual means you're absent of sexual attraction to anyone. If you think of A plus the word sexual together, see this? Asexual. If you think of the A, just think of the A standing for absent of sexual attraction. So, I'm not sexually attracted to anyone, but yeah, including guys. But I am attracted to guys, just not sexually. So I'm attracted to guys romantically, aesthetically. Not all guys, depends on the guy. But I have up to 8 types of attraction. So I'm attracted to guys romantically, aesthetically, intellectually. Close attraction I have for some guys. Creative attraction. Spiritual attraction, emotional attraction, sensual attraction with a guy's upper body, not lower body. I hope that makes sense. So yeah, but I don't experience sexual attraction to anyone. I just subscribe to you. It's quite nice to see someone talking about such sensitive topics openly. Respect and strength to you. Oh, thank you. Lots of love. I appreciate it. So yeah, I hope that makes sense. I mean, I'm welcoming any respectful, you know, questions. So yeah, so just, you know, some asexuals, they masturbate, some don't, some find it repulsive. Some asexuals do have sex despite not experiencing sexual attraction, but the majority of asexuals that do have sex usually are more on the grey asexual part of the asexual spectrum. So if you remember, I told you there's pure asexuals who experience 0 sexual attraction, and there's grey asexuals who experience sexual attraction but only under limited, rare or specific circumstances, or they experience it but not enough to want to act on it. So the ones on the more sexual end of the asexual spectrum, they tend to be the ones that are more likely to be sex positive or sex neutral. Meaning sex neutral, like they're okay where they have it or they don't, or sex positive, they're happy to consent to having that. But for those of us who don't experience any sexual attraction whatsoever, if we do that, we do it like as something usually the other person would instigate. If we were into that, if we're okay to do that, we might want it a lot less than the other person would, because it, you know. But for some of us, I'm actually a sex repulsed asexual these days. Then I'm not interested in sex. Like it really repulses me. If you look at some of my shorts videos from yesterday, you'll see I start watching the movies, well, in the last couple of days, and they just ended up being sexual. Usually I'll watch PG or Certificate 12 movies most of the time, because I find they're the ones least likely to have sex in it. And just have like, you know, like romance or friendship in them, right? But the ones at Certificate 15 can have a bit of sex sometimes, not necessarily, but, you know, I was just like, had to stop watching 2 movies the last couple of days. One was a movie. Well, if you see my shorts, you can see them actually. Let's have a look at my shorts channel here. Right, so here it is. You'll see here, see? This, I'm sex repulsed asexual. This movie makes me feel sick. I had to stop watching this movie because it's just making me feel really, really ill. And then this one, trying a PG movie after stopping another movie due to sex repulsion. I'm sex repulsed. And then asexual sex repulsion trauma effects when trying to eat. Let's talk, you know? So, it's really like, and this one, don't recommend AI Rising, right? This AI Rising is a sex repulsed asexual, sex nudity. Stop watching it. I stopped watching this very soon, right? This was not good. I have to put a trigger warning. So this particular one, I only watched the beginning of it, right? And at the beginning of it, basically this person's meant to be an android, And she's going with this astronaut, and this astronaut guy has been really hurt by women, and he can't be with women. He prefers to be on his own, and he's a loner, but he's kind of got something against, like, he's kind of got something against being in a relationship with women because of the way he's been treated. And so basically, as soon as they've taken off into space, he's there like having sex with this android. He's programmed her to have sex with him. And then the next scene is just like he starts trying to. This is where it gets dangerous with AI, right? He programs her to be like a girl, a young girl, which is very, very disgusting. A young girl who's never had sex in her life and is a virgin. And I stopped it because, trigger warning, he started having sex with her, trying to have sex with her, instigate against her will. And I know she's an android, but for F's sake, do you know what I mean? It's just, I know obviously she's an actress playing an android. She's not really an android. And so I found this really disturbing that he was, because, she's like, I don't want to have sex. And he's like, oh, and then he goes, oh, come here. And it started like yanking her arm to come towards him. And I'm just like, I can't be doing this because it's sexual abuse. Right? Do you know what I mean? People shouldn't be having sexual abuse with anything, including androids, in my opinion. So I actually could possibly be in a relationship with an android robot because I love robots. And as an asexual person, I don't experience any sexual attraction whatsoever. And obviously in the future, not now, but in the future, there'll probably be a lot of people having sex with robots, humanoids. But as it stands, a lot of robots are either sex robots from my research, or they are, just mostly for sex, or they're like companions. There's not one that does all of it yet, because I talk about AI on my other channel, Sandra Bellamy channel. That's my actual name, a very small channel. And I was a speaker at AI Southwest Live last month because I'm writing a book about AI relationships with humans. So yeah, but I'm also writing another book about asexuality at the moment. Asexuality Principles for Unshakable Confidence, Never Feel Silenced Again. So anyway, going back to this, so I don't recommend that. That's really horrible to me. And there was another one that I started watching with Zac Efron in it. And I just couldn't. These are on Rakuten TV for free, but I just couldn't watch it. I just had to stop it. But it just kept getting worse and worse and worse, and more sex stuff. And I'm just like, oh my God. And then he started wearing a dildo, like Zac Efron, to this party, and like, it's just made me want to nearly throw up. I'm like, I watched quite a bit of it because some of it's to do with romantic relationships. I'm interested in romantic relationships, but not sexual. I thought it'd get better, but it didn't, just got worse and worse. So as a sex repulsed asexual, it just made me feel really sick. So yeah, I just personally don't like that. The more I see films with a lot of sex in it, the worse my repulsion gets. Like if I've not seen it for a while, it's less, my repulsion isn't as strong because it's like, well, I haven't been seeing it. So, you know what I mean? I feel like I'm less exposed to it. But as soon as I start seeing that, more and more, I just like, oh my God, I feel so physically sick. And then my mind goes to, I don't understand why people like sex. I mean, to have babies, yeah, but for anything else, I don't personally get it. And I'm an asexual who has had sex in the past with heterosexual guys years ago. Not since 2011, thank God, before I discovered I'm asexual in 2014. But I was doing it because I thought I had to as part of a normal relationship. Not realising you have a choice. And, obviously people do have a choice, but I didn't realise I had a choice to not do that in a relationship and still can experience love, because the damaging message society sends is love equals sex and sex equals love, which isn't true. Right? There's loads of heterosexuals right now in relationships for years. They're not having sex and they still love each other and it's still kids and stuff. They just don't have sex. It's just everyone thinks they do because that's what TV makes it out, or movies. How do we signify asexuals as they are different from LGBTQ? So asexual is spelled ASEXUALS with an S on the end for plural. So yeah, the work I do on this channel and in my life, I've helped asexuals now for over a decade. My mission is to get asexuality recognised as a sexual orientation in its own right throughout the globe, so no asexual has to live in fear of ridicule ever again. That's my mission. That's my whole purpose. Now, there's a lot of people who are asexual, like there's content creators and things like that, but they're trying to do a lot of work, and I feel it's predominantly more geared towards LGBT plus community, whereas I'm very keen to get asexuality recognised in its own right, because it is its own sexual orientation as well. It's not just part of LGBTQIA, right? Because lesbians, gays, bisexual people, these are all people that still experience sexual attraction, whereas with asexuals we don't. That's or we lack it, you know. So if you're talking about pure asexuals, we don't experience any sexual attraction, and that's very different to the other people in the minority sexual orientation space. So that's why I am so keen to talk about it in its own right a lot. I don't talk about it that much in conjunction with LGBTQ plus stuff, because if people don't understand that we are different, then just putting us in with LGBT plus makes us just seem like we're sexual like they are, but just in a minority way, right? Whereas we don't experience sexual attraction, we lack sexual attraction. And that's a really important distinction. And there are asexuals that are sex positive, that have sex and are having sex, right? But those people don't experience exactly the same types of difficulties. We all have relationship difficulties, like I said at the beginning of this video. They're universal difficulties we have, but they don't have the same difficulties as someone like me who's sex repulsed. I have much less people, guys, I'm only interested in guys, have much less people to think about being in a relationship with. For one, like most asexuals, a majority are women. There's more women than guy asexuals, right? So as I was thinking about trying to find someone like me in the asexual community, there are more women asexuals than men asexuals, right? There are more non-romantic asexuals than romantic asexuals. I'm romantic, but I'm not just a little bit romantic. I'm a hyper-romantic and hyper-kisser. So I need a guy who is going to be able to enjoy that type of life with me, right? I don't want sex, I don't want marriage, I don't want kids, and I like to live separately. So I like Indian guys, but ironically, I'm very opposite to their culture. Like in India, you can't go around kissing in public usually, or not much, right? I need to snog in public. I talk about snogging, like full on snogging, kissing, because I'm a hyper kisser, right? I have never found anyone of any sexual orientation who's a hyper kisser ever. I haven't come across one, right? I'm a rare person in the whole world as far as that's concerned at the moment. It'd be great if I met a guy that was also a hyper kisser, but I don't know of anyone. Of course, I've kissed guys for long periods of time who I've dated or met at clubs, but it's not my intention to like just go, oh, let's go and definitely get someone to kiss. But sometimes I think in my mind, I just need kissing right now, and a guy will show up that happens to be my type. Like, I can't just kiss anyone. It has to be someone I'm very aesthetically attracted to. And I'm usually attracted to younger foreign guys, early to mid-20s, who I happen to be Indian the majority of the time. But I like Bangladesh guys, Middle Eastern, and I live in the UK, and no, I don't want to move. So, and I like kissing in public, like anywhere and everywhere, pretty much. Like, even if I'm walking down the road, going to the supermarket, all this type of thing, which is not what most people like. They're so shy and stuff, and I'm like, nah. Otherwise, I feel like a caged animal. I'm like, don't just kiss me in private. And obviously, in Indian culture and a lot of other foreign cultures, their families would frown upon that. A lot of them would frown upon them even being with an asexual girl. It's like, what are you doing? And they need marriage. So most of the asexual guys that I come across, like Indian, for example, they still need marriage and to live together. And I'm like, I'm not up for that. That's not what I want. So we are different in the sense we lack sexual attraction, and the rest of the LGBT plus community still experience sexual attraction. It's just in a different way to the majority. I hope that's answered your question. Come to India and give a lecture on this topic. I don't need to come to India because people from India watch this channel, as you are doing. I have quite a big subscriber and viewer base from India. If you haven't already subscribed, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon so you see my videos. But yeah, I do my analytics, and sometimes, well, quite a number of times, India has been in the top 3 places that people view me from. So I don't need to actually be in India. I don't travel on a plane, so you're not going to get me going to India. I literally don't go on a plane. I don't usually go abroad. That's another thing about me personally. It's got nothing to do with my sexual orientation that makes it harder for me to find someone for a relationship. Most Indian guys I know love to travel. I'm not interested in traveling. Most people I know are into traveling. I'm not. A lot of people are into nature and outdoor stuff. I'm not. Like, if I go outdoors, I go to a zoo. Do you know what I mean? But I'm not interested in, usually I don't go to the beach. Like, I used to live near the beach and in the countryside, and I didn't like it. The beach is okay very, very, very rarely, I guess. But, I haven't been to one for years. That's not my interest. Apart from my parents live near Dawlish Seafront, so I will occasionally go there. But I haven't really walked much there. So I could say I've been on the beach there, I guess. But it wasn't, I was going to see my parents. Well, my intention to go to a beach. I just decided to walk on it. Maybe that was last year or the year before. So yeah, occasionally maybe. But do you know what I mean? I like in my city, I do like the quayside, which is a bit of countryside in the city. And I do like going to the Cathedral Green sometimes. So they're like little bits of countryside in the city. But actually to go out to the countryside is really not my interest. If I go away, I like to be doing something the whole time as well. Like not sunbathing or just reading a book. Like I like to do. It's my birthday next month. I'm going to London for 3 days. Oh my God. I'm going to be in heaven going to London. I love it. So now this is a very rude question. Do you know what I mean? That I'm having a very rude question now. This is very rude. Sorry, ma'am. Is that a condition you experienced after puberty, or you just lost interest after some time? It's not a condition. Asexuality is not a disease. It's not a condition. It's not an illness. There's nothing that needs fixing or nothing wrong. Right, a condition sounds like something's wrong with me or people that are asexual. There's nothing wrong. And I didn't lose interest at all. I've never been interested. I've never felt the need, urge, or want for sex ever, even though I have had sex in the past and my hormones are completely fine. It's got nothing to do with it. I was just saying that imagine if I said that to you, are you heterosexual? Because you hit puberty, and before that you weren't even thinking about sex, and all of a sudden you have puberty, your hormones fly everywhere, and then you want sex with people. You could say that that's a problem. You could if you're saying something's wrong with me because of my hormones or puberty, you could say that about any sexual orientation. You could say that about heterosexuals. You could say how many heterosexuals are only heterosexual because they hit puberty and their hormones changed them. And before that, they didn't even feel that way. It's a valid point, right? Because most people know that when you hit puberty, your hormones change, and that's when most people start experiencing sexual attraction. What if those hormones in puberty didn't activate like that? To make you be like that. Just like, what made you be that way? Like people get asked all the time, like, what made you be asexual? It's like nothing can make me be asexual. I'm just naturally asexual. I naturally lack sexual orientation. So it's not about losing interest. I was never interested in sex. I don't associate sex with love. I never have done and never will do. Right? I've had sex in the past because I thought I had to as part of a normal relationship. Not because I thought, God, I really want sex with you, the person I was in. But I was consensual and I was okay doing it back then. But I was doing it because I thought I had to. But now I wouldn't do it because I'm not interested in it. I don't even like it. I don't even like, I wasn't really like into it before. It was just like, do you know what I mean? I like the kissing part of it. That was really good for me. I loved the kissing part. And at that time I liked foreplay as well. But I didn't, I wasn't interested in it. I had sex. Like the last guy I had sex with, my last long-term heterosexual ex, the relationship ended in 2011. He was very good at sexual stuff. He was the best out of the guys I had sex with in the past. But I probably had it a lot less than some other, people would. Although with him, sometimes I'd do it 3 times in a row just to please him. Because it was like, well, you get your sex, like, get it out of the way. Then I can go back to not having sex. Which is my preference, because I didn't have it that often with him. So it's like he would give me kissing and foreplay. And then I would do that with him because that's what he liked. And I was okay at that point. I didn't know I was asexual. But I didn't go looking to have sex. I remember him trying to instigate sex while I was doing the washing up and listening to music. I was thinking, I just want to stay listening to this music in my headphones and wash up. I hate washing up. I can't stand it. I have a dishwasher here now. It does most of my washing up, right? And so it's not a pleasurable activity, washing up. I don't like housework at all. I hate it. But I'd rather do that than have sex because I'm not interested in sex. And that's normal for asexuals because we don't experience sexual attraction. Just imagine if you were having sex with something you weren't attracted to. For some people, their drive is so bad for sex, so high for sex, that they don't care if they're not sexually attracted to the person, right? How many times guys have, it could be any gender, but I'm just talking about guys because that's who I pay attention to. How many guys go into nightclubs going, I'm going to get laid tonight? They don't care about the person. They're not in love with the person. They just want the sex because they've got a huge drive for sex. And they want sex, sex, sex. That's sexual desire. It's not sexual attraction. Sexual attraction is when you're sexually attracted to someone or some people. Sexual desire is a desire for sex in and of itself, regardless of, like, you know, the person. Like, I've heard guys go, I'm just going to let lay. They don't care what woman it's with. I come to India and give a lecture in medical college in our psychiatry department. This topic is very sensitive. Anyway, thank you for clearing my concept. Well, they can seek me out and they can connect with me, and I can do a Zoom one. I'm happy to go do a lecture in Zoom, but you know, they can watch my channel. I mean, I do one-to-one coaching, but that's a paid, you know, people have to pay for that service. I don't give one advice for free anymore. I used to do that years ago, but I give so much free advice on this channel all the time. Do you know what I mean? But if the college want to pay me to give a lecture on this topic, then yeah, I'm actually an award-winning speaker. I got an award last year. Repulsion. My head is spinning. Yeah, repulsion. I'm repulsed by sex. Like, I know that's probably a foreign concept to someone who loves sex, but I'm repulsed by sex. I'm not interested in genitalia. It's not particularly pleasant. I don't think it's particularly nice to look at. Right? It's like, do you know what I mean? Even though I've had sex in the past, but do you know what I mean? Like, I'm not interested in it. I'm interested. The most attraction I have for a guy is his face and frame. Like, his face. I like clean shaven. I hate beards. And a lot of Indian guys have beards. A lot of foreign guys have beards. Particularly Indians get very, like, possessive over their beards. I'm keeping my beard. It's like, I don't like beards. Like, I'm on Badoo, dating app. And the majority of single guys, or guys who are probably in a relationship or complicated or whatever they're doing, they have beards. And I'm thinking, you're probably on a dating app partly because you look much older than you are. Shave the beard off and keep it off, then you look much better. Do you know what I mean? Like, the amount of guys, they've got loads of facial hair or some facial hair on dating apps. I'm like, they haven't worked out yet. Actually, clean shaven usually is much better. There are some people that love beards, though. There are. But it seems very interesting that the majority of guys, because I don't look at women on there, obviously, the majority of guys on dating apps have facial hair. It's like, how they haven't worked out yet, like, cut the facial hair out. There's guys who are like in their 20s, but they look like they're in their 30s and 40s because they've got all these bushy hair. I saw a guy in there and I'm thinking, you look so attractive when you've got like no facial hair. Then all of a sudden you've grown this beard and everything. I'm like, why? You look like 10 or 20 years older. It's absolutely totally unnecessary and unattractive. That's my personal opinion. I know other people won't agree to it. I want to marry you. I don't want to marry anyone, but thanks for the compliment. You're so beautiful. And to say you are not interested in sex makes you even more attractive. Got it, madam. Right. You connect in India. We cannot make out in public. It's taboo. Anyway, I'm not an orthodox guy. You're correct. In India, we cannot make out in public. Making out, I believe, means touching boobs and stuff. I don't do making out. Like, I don't want to be touched on my boobs and in sexual places. And I'm nudity repulsed. I don't like a guy seeing me naked either. So he doesn't get to see that, even in a relationship. I'm not interested. I'm really not interested. I'm not interested in seeing a guy below the waist. And I'm not interested in him seeing me naked. Like, I don't, like, that's for me. If anyone's going to see me naked, it's me. I can enjoy my own body, thanks very much. And have a nice relationship with myself in that way. But, do you know what I mean? It's interesting because years ago I used to have sex and I used to be naked then. But now I'm just like... But I used to be very like... Sometimes I didn't mind the guy I was in a relationship with touching my chest. And other times I just didn't like it at all. So it depended on my mood. Nowadays I just usually don't like it whatsoever. From the very beginning, I'm like, you're not, you know, if that's what you want to do with a woman, pick another woman. There's plenty out there that don't mind all that stuff. I'm not interested. I'd rather be single forever than be doing stuff I don't want. I didn't mean to be rude as a person. Thank you for saying that. Yeah. So to be clear, asexuality is a sexual orientation. Like pansexuality, homosexuality, bisexuality, heterosexuality, we're all, so there's like bisexuals, pansexuals, homosexuals, heterosexuals, and asexuals. 5 sexual orientations. No, here you are wrong. Making out is not only touching private parts or boobs, it's kissing as well in India. Yeah, as well. But that's what I don't want. I only want the kissing, not the other stuff. That's what I'm saying. Making out is kissing plus touching sexual parts and boobs and stuff. I'm not interested in that. I don't do that. If I kiss, it's with my clothes on and guys' hands round my back. I am very strict about that. You know, it's like, put your hands round my back. Not down my ass. Not down my front bit. And not on my boobs. That's my area. I'm not interested. But I'm okay. So I have some sexual behaviour the way I like to kiss and dance. But I have 0 sexual attraction. So I'm okay with sitting on a guy's lap. And having close physical contact in that way. But without his hands being there. His hands around my back. So I'm okay doing that, which is unusual, right? So I don't mind sitting on a guy's lap. I like a teenager style relationship with a guy who's 21 and upwards. Style, I said. Teenager style. I want to emphasize that. I'm not interested in underage people. Very much not. So 21 and upwards. My last short-term boyfriend was Indian and he was 27, but he was not good for me. We had different values. He valued dishonesty and I valued honesty, which is one major reason why we split. So one of the major reasons, so not to do with asexuality. So, so it's important, like when we look at a relationship, we look at what our values are, what our lifestyles are, what our character traits are, as well as taking in different people's sexual orientation, you know. Some people of mixed sexual orientation can make it work. So, for example, a bisexual person could be, for example, with another bisexual or a pansexual person, or they could be with a heterosexual person. Do you know what I mean? Or a trans person, depending on what genders they're attracted to. So, do you know what I mean? Like, I'm not bisexual myself, but if there was a bisexual guy who liked women as well as guys and they didn't need to have sex with anyone, then I could possibly be with that type of guy if I, you know, had shared interests, hobbies, lifestyles, all this type of thing. But you've got to have compatibility, you know. If a guy wants lots of sex and I'm not interested, I'm sex repulsed, that's not going to work. We're totally unsuitable for each other. You're the nicest person I've ever met on YouTube. Thanks. So yeah, we've all got universal things, right, in relationships. We all want connection, usually love. We want to feel needed, wanted, seen, understood. We want to feel special. We want to feel like we mean something. We want to have purpose in our life. These are like universal things that majority of us want, right? Regardless of sexual orientation. But then you have to look at sexual orientation and see if it means you're compatible. Like I said, if a guy loves sex, then I don't. We're not going to be compatible. There are some guys in the asexual community, they can be without sex, but they love touching boobs. And I'm like, I'm not interested in that. I don't want you to do that with me. So boobs are a really big thing to them, even though they're asexual. They're not interested in sex, but they want to touch boobs. And I'm like, I'm really not up for that. It's uncomfortable. I don't want that to happen. And I did actually try it once since I said I don't like it. I let the person do it once, and I was like, really like, nah, definitely do not like that 100%. Even though I was really attracted to the guy, he was my top aesthetic attraction, but I just didn't like it. I thought I wouldn't, but I tried a little bit, and I'm just like, I'm just not interested. You know what I mean? So it's okay if you're asexual and want to try and, you know, things out, but you've got to tell, you know, if you're an asexual person or whatever sexual orientation you are, if you want to try something out, you're not sure about it, you can say, but you have to make it clear to the person, I'm just trying this once. If I don't like it, I'm not going to do it again. They have to be okay with that. If they're a person that always wants that, oh, you've tried it once and do it again, it's like, no, I tried it once just to see, but I was adamant before, or was thinking before, I don't really want this, but I'm okay to try it. But, you know, a lot of the time, there's no point in even trying if you're adamant you don't really want it, because, you know, you'll be careful not to get into the sexual abuse territory where a person's pressurizing you to do things that you're really not interested in doing. So I make it very clear in my dating bio, I'm not interested in sex whatsoever. So really, I'd be suited to an Indian guy who's born in the UK or predominantly been in the UK for the majority of his life. Do you know what I mean? Because I'm not going to be one of these people that's going to be happy in a relationship with a guy who would just like only not do certain things because of his community, what his family thinks, and in public because it's taboo or forbidden. I'm like kissing in public's nice because a lot of people don't do it. It's kind of exciting, right? It's like, I love it. Kissing on the bus, kissing on the train. I'm literally like a kid in that way. Well, a teenager style person. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I like the teenager style romances where you just see them kissing, cuddling and doing nothing else. Not touching boobs or anything. They're literally just kissing and being romantic with each other and texting each other and messaging each other and going like, you know, like kissing under the moonlight and just kissing lots and dancing and kissing, that type of thing. Ma'am, you realise that you are asexual at what age? I don't reveal my age. I don't talk about my birth certificate age. I'm not interested in that. I found out I'm asexual in 2014 and I've been helping asexual since 2015. So I've known I'm asexual for nearly 11 years now. It was the end of March, beginning of April. So around about this time, I found out I was asexual in 2014. So yeah, 11 years ago. No, more than that, isn't it? It's 2014. I found out we're in 2026 now. Oh, yeah, because I've helped asexuals for a decade, over a decade on this channel. I started this channel in October 2015, and I found out I'm asexual at the end of March, beginning of April 2014. So yeah, it's been 12 years that I discovered I'm asexual. 12 years ago. It's my anniversary. Woohoo! Do you know what I mean? Like, woo! Yes! 12 years I've known I'm asexual now. God, that feels good. Didn't feel good how I found it out. I talk about how I found out I was asexual in this Asexual Perspectives book. So do grab a copy. You'll find it really insightful. Available on Amazon. And I talk... If you ever want to know what the life is like behind the scenes on this video, this YouTube channel of a hyper-romantic asexual, get this book. And yes, there are Indian guys I talk about in this book. Surprise, surprise. One of whom saw me across the dance floor at Oxford and approached me. I dissect his text messages. Very interesting book. And it's also life lessons that help you in your life. All aspects of it. 78 of them. So yeah, asexuality is not something that's like created or, you know, like made up or you know, like a hormonal problem. It's not abstaining. It's not celibacy. It's not a problem you had in puberty. It doesn't mean to say you... For some asexuals, they don't experience arousal, but for others, they do. I experience arousal, but it's for kissing. Just think about kissing. Oh, God, I love kissing. So I didn't tell you what a hyperkisser is, did I? Just in case you're wondering. This is not what asexuals are usually like. Most asexuals do not even like much kissing. The majority don't, right? And a lot of them don't like the tongue. I love tongue kissing, right? French kissing. So a hyperkisser is someone who can kiss for hours. I'm a hyperkisser, right? So I can kiss for hours and not get bored. Like a favourite hobby to share with the right guy, right? So I literally can kiss for 4+ hours. Or up to 4 hours, or even more than 4 hours and not get bored. I have to go to the toilet and sometimes have a quick snack. But other than that, like I'm nearly non-stop. Right? It's like toilet, kiss, snog. Passionately for hours. I love it. Time goes by so quickly. So yeah, that's like what a hyperkisser is. So there's a lot of I say a lot of, there's some hypersexuals in the world. I won't say a lot of hypersexuals actually, because from what I understand of heterosexuals, most heterosexuals are having sex 3 times a week on average. I think that's kind of like what heterosexuals usually have. But if they've got a high sex drive, a lot of them like it every day if they've got a really high sex drive, right? And someone who's a hypersexual is someone who can have sex for like a couple of hours or more. Like I knew someone who came to the asexual community, well, I still know of them, and they identified as asexual when I first knew them. And then they realized partway through their asexuality journey of discovery that they are in fact demisexual. So a demisexual person, like I said earlier, is someone who can only experience a sexual attraction when a deep emotional bond has been formed, maintained, and sustained reciprocally, right? So without that emotional bond connection, they don't experience sexual attraction at all. But when they do experience sexual attraction, they can feel it just as intensely as any regular person does who experiences sexual attraction. They can experience it the same, same intensity, same want, same need, same desire, right? So for them it's very difficult because it's like they see two different lives. It's like they're living like they're experiencing zero sexual attraction some of the time. Some demisexuals, it depends if they're demisexual plus some other type of grey asexual, but if they're just a demisexual, then they're experiencing no sexual attraction. But when they find like even maybe one, two, or a handful of people in their life they do experience sexual attraction with, then they can get the need, urge, or want for partner's sexual intercourse just like anyone else can. So for them it's kind of weird. Kind of like experiencing two different types of attraction, as in zero attraction, or the other extreme is sexual attraction, So it's kind of difficult for them sometimes, and I think a lot of people don't understand demisexuals in that way. It can be hard for them as well because on the dating scene they have to develop a deep emotional bond to even want to be able to participate in sex in the first place. And so for them it's like rapid people quickly getting them into sex is just not going to work for them a lot of the time. Demisexual sounds like Orgon from Stranger Things. Demigorgon from Stranger Things. Demisexuals are actual sexual orientation. I did actually meet someone who was demisexual when I was on a train going to do my talk at the University of Westminster in 2018. My asexuality talk. I spoke at the business school there at Westminster University. About asexuality. Well, it was like how to arrange an asexual meetup was one of the talks I did, and then I was on the asexual relationships panel discussion. I did another short talk on self-dating and self-love, relationship with yourself. So yeah. So I'm trying to look through the comments just to make sure. I'm curious about the sensual aspect of kissing, but probably would only go there with a partner if I got in deeper in a relationship. Right, okay, yeah. So a lot of people conflate and confuse sensual attraction with sexual attraction. Now, for a lot of heterosexuals, I think they would lump it into one. Heterosexuals tend to lump romantic attraction, aesthetic attraction, sensual attraction, even they tend to lump it all into sexual attraction. It's all sexual attraction to them usually. I used to think I was heterosexual for years. So I used to think this way myself. I used to like be, it's just like all sexual attraction. But I used to think, I didn't understand that I didn't experience sexual attraction. I thought I was heterosexual. I mistook my high levels of arousal for sexual attraction, not understanding that sexual attraction and arousal are two completely different things. So arousal is a feeling in your genitalia that may or may not be linked to anyone, right? But sexual attraction is when you get the need, innate, that's within yourself, need, urge, or want for partner's sexual intercourse. You look at someone, you think, I really want to have sex with them now. Like, do you know what I mean? I don't get that. So when I look back at the relationships I had, all of the guys I loved and was in long-term relationships with and short-term relationships with, I never had that innate need, urge, want, or desire. Like, if they hadn't brought the topic up of sex and wanted sex, then I wouldn't have bothered having it. Do you know what I mean? So for me, like, for me, it's hard because as a hyper kisser, I was telling you about the demisexual person, wasn't I? Sorry, I was going somewhere. So I knew someone who came into the asexual community, and then later they realized they're demisexual, and then they ended up being in a relationship. They're married now to this person, and they're a hypersexual, or they realized they were hypersexual, which is very interesting because they went from their journey was from asexuality to discovering their demisexual and the demisexual, and then when they met this person that they got a deep emotional bond for, they actually were hypersexual. But with them, they weren't like that with like loads of other people, because they're demisexual. So they had this amazing emotional bond with this person, who they're married to, and they're just like, do you know what I mean? And I'm like, they told me that means they have sex for like 1 or 2 hours. I don't know how they do that. I don't know how they manage that. I just don't know. But because I'm a hyper kisser, not hypersexual, I kind of understand that, in the sense that I can kiss for hours and never get bored. The time just flies. I don't even know it is hours a lot of the time until I look at the clock later on, because I'm just so enjoying the moment. And for me, it's like full body exercise routine, with, without being touched in places I don't want to be touched, but just the like, if for example I'm on a bed with a guy and I'm snogging, I'm on top of him, like it's quite hard to keep your arms like up and kiss and put your arms, and it's quite a physical act. And I've got disabilities, so I can't necessarily do this all the time. Sometimes the guy has to go on top and kiss, you know what I mean? But if I'm in a club, like I have kissed guys in clubs for long periods of time because I have kissing needs. I mean, I'm being honest, right? I'm an asexual person that's honest about their sexual orientation, that's honest about their sexuality, that's honest about their needs. And I do have kissing needs. I get to the point sometimes where I feel so sick from not kissing. So I have sex repulsion. When I see a video with loads of sex, it makes me sick, right? But I also feel kissing sick, right? Like I said, I've never come across another hyper kisser in my entire life of any sexual orientation. So I've only got myself to talk about this. But it's like, because I haven't kissed for a long, long time, I kiss myself because it does help relieve that, kiss my arms and stuff, give myself a cuddle. Do you know what I mean? It helps. It really does help relieve the kissing. Do you know what I mean? Feeling. But, it's hard because I do get kissing sick sometimes. Like, I really need to kiss now. Like, I don't need to be in a relationship. I do really need to kiss. So years ago, I'd never kiss outside of a relationship. And I was really adamant that I would never do that. But then I changed on this channel. I openly gave myself permission to kiss outside a relationship because I thought, as I'm asexual, I'll probably be single for a very, very long time. And because it's hard to find someone compatible for me, not just because I'm asexual, but because of my niche needs as well, liking younger foreign guys, for example, most of whom have taboos around doing this type of thing in public, and most of whom come from backgrounds when they're expected to do certain things in relationships, like get married and have kids. So it's really hard. But, I think it's important to be honest with yourself about your own sexuality, your own needs. It's good to understand yourself and discover what you really need in a relationship, what you really need in life to be happy. Do you know what I mean? And so we all have like universal themes and universal needs. No matter what sexual orientation we are, then we have our own needs related specifically to our orientation. And then we have our own needs related to us personally. This, like for example, like I said earlier, if someone is traveling, they're into traveling, I'm not compatible with that person because I'm not into traveling. I like being in the UK and staying in the UK. The only time I travel is on Eurostar to Disneyland Paris. I don't fly on a plane. I've only ever flown twice in my life and I absolutely hate it. I was crying in a 1-hour flight. And I'm just like, you know what? I don't need it. I don't need that hassle. I don't need it. I'm not interested in it. I don't think I'm missing out. I never think I'm missing out. People are like, oh, but there's so many for the world to explore. I'm like, I'm not into nature. Most people go abroad to look at all the scenery and everything. Like, I can see it on YouTube. I can see it from different people. I don't need to be in it. And it's like, I do love the UK a lot. It has its downsides in some ways. I mean, things are really expensive over here. Government is not as good as it used to be. Was it ever? But yeah, I mean, the Labour government, I don't want to talk much about politics. I've come back and they're very different to what I used to know about Labour, but it's hard, prices are increasing all the time. And so, it's not easy in that way. But there's still a lot of good things about the UK. At the moment, we've still got free NHS, which is great. And there are, like, even in the city I live in, it's my favourite city to live in. Do you know what I mean? Like, I love living in Exeter. I don't see me moving, to be honest. The only place I've ever considered moving to is London, because I love London like a second home. So I do like London a lot, but I don't know if I'd like to live there. Exeter is still my favourite city because I like the layout. It's very cultural, diverse, quite arty in some ways. The shops are easy to get to. There are little bits of countryside in the city without having to go to the countryside. I'm not really interested in going to the countryside, but I don't mind little bits of countryside in the city. And you know what I mean? It's quite thriving in lots of ways. So that's good. Some crime's not great these days, antisocial behaviour, but you get that in quite a lot of cities. But I love living in Exeter, I do enjoy it. On Friday this week, I'm doing something I've not done before. I'm going to 3 meetups in a day. That's what I put myself down for. I'm hoping I can make all 3, because obviously I've been very poorly. And I think I'm over now. I'm not going to say I'm totally 100% better, but I'm nearly that way now, right? And so I'm better enough. I'm enough. My digestive system I've always got problems with anyway, but I've had gastroenteritis, which is really horrible. Don't wish it on anyone. So it's taken me a lot of time to recover. So I'm just getting back on my feet now and working my way through my to-do list and stuff, right? So, but I'm going to try and I've literally put myself down for 3 different meetups on Friday. Well, one of them is with the same person, the same host. It's just 2 in the day. I'm like, oh my gosh. So I'm not sure I'm going to go. I'm probably going to so I'm pretty much going to be out all of Friday, but it'll be good for me because I've been stuck indoors most of the time while I've been sick, especially when it's contagious. I wouldn't go out at all. So I'm planning to go to a silent writing club. I write, that I'm an author. I've been publishing on Amazon for over 10 years now. So don't forget, grab copies of my books, Sandra Bellamy, Quirky Books, Asexual Perspectives, Diary Confessions of a Hyperromantic Asexual. And so I've not tried to write in silence among other people before, so I'm going to try that. And then that writing group is having a social group that I've been to a meetup before, so they're having one of them somewhere else later on. And then straight after that, there's another meetup that I've been to before, but not at that venue, so I'm going to go to that as well because I'm already there. But it means I'm going to be out for literally hours most of Friday. I have to come back and bring my laptop with me because I'm taking my laptop for the silent writing, but they want us to go for drinks after the silent writing as well. So I might go for a drink as well. So it's like, oh, I'm extrovert, so it's going to be so good. So that's another thing in relationships. You have to think about attachment styles, and you have to think about personality types, right? And I'm an extrovert, right? And a lot of asexuals are introverted. So I'm very different to a lot of asexuals in that respect. And it's hard sometimes, depending on the extrovert and introvert being together sometimes. But it can work depending on how introvert the introvert is and how extrovert the extrovert is. Because sometimes having 2 extroverts does not work either. Because, you can butt heads, you can both want attention, you can both kind of be like out there, if you know what I mean. So sometimes an extrovert works better with an ambivert, for example, or even an introvert that, has some extrovert tendencies. I'm an extrovert, but I have a lot of introverted tendencies, but I am living too much of an introverted life at the moment. So, you've got to take all these things into consideration in relationships, right? So, like I said, there's like the broad, like we all have these broad needs, universal needs, whatever sexual orientation we are, and we have to respect and love each other and, understand that, hey, we're all here for connection, people. Doesn't matter if you love a guy, a girl, a trans person, whoever you love, right? Love is love at the end of the day. And we're all here for love and connection. And we're here for feeling something. We're here for being heard. We're here for being understood. And we are literally, there's universal things that we all need. And so we need to be respectful and mindful that, hey, we're not all against each other. We're actually wanting the same things, a lot of us, just from different people in different ways. And then we have to realize that obviously minority sexual orientations do have more difficulties finding relationships because they've got all the problems of what heterosexuals would experience, plus their own minority sexual orientation needs on top of that. And then on top of that, we've all got our own individual needs and all our experiences, of what's happened to us in our life, previous relationships, previously friendships, they all impact us and how we express love, how we receive love, how we push love away, how we avoid love, how we welcome love, how we get anxious about love. Do you know what I mean? How we want connection, how we don't want connection, how we do want it a lot, how we don't want it much, how we want it but then don't want it. All these types of things are what make up individual people's needs in relationships. But the main point of relationship is you should be compatible in like your values. Do your character traits align? Do your life goals align? Lifestyles is a big thing. Like I usually work through the night and sleep in the day. So if a guy is on a like getting up early 7 a.m. and then he's in bed by like 10 a.m., it'd be hard for me to see him because I'm like up till 4 a.m. or later, and it was 7 a.m. this morning. This morning. Yeah, 7 a.m. this morning. And it's like, or was it 8 a.m.? I think it was 7. The previous day before that was like nearly 11 a.m. Right? So, I can't, and then I'm going to sleep in the day. You know what I mean? So it's hard to even see someone. So we've all got our own lifestyles. That seems like that's how it is with some European actors. They mostly only appear in films of their native countries. Sometimes, not often, they'll appear in mainstream films. Thank you for the hearts. I think someone put some hearts. It's hard to see on my phone, but I do appreciate every, nice, respectful comment, question, hearts, and anything like that. So, I'm not sure what you mean with some European actors. They only appear in films. I don't really understand how that's relevant to what I'm talking about, but maybe I missed something. I think you're probably making an analogy that I didn't quite understand. So I think someone's being very rude. Right, I'm going to remove that rude message. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's just not very relevant. Right, okay, so do you know what I mean? Like, right, I saw that was the case of the actress who played the redhead. Right, I don't really know how that's relevant to what I'm talking about. So please make relevant comments. We need to keep this chat on track. So yeah, but I'm going to wrap up now anyway, because I think we've discussed quite a lot. But I wanted to just share that we all have universal things that we do need in relationships. And love is love, regardless of what sexual orientation you are, whatever gender you are. Do you know what I mean? Everyone has the right to have their own needs, their own likes, their own wants, their own dislikes. And everyone has a right to be the sexual orientation they are. And to not feel like they're wrong or dismissed because of their sexual orientation or they need fixing. Right? Oh, Jonathan, popping in to say hi. Nice to see you, Jonathan. I appreciate you being here. I haven't seen you for ages, but I know I haven't done many live streams and because of like being ill and etc. So I really appreciate you being here. But yeah, so we need to be compassionate to each other of different sexual orientations, and don't think someone needs fixing. And I have to once again say, in case people came midway through this chat, asexuality's got nothing to do with like hormone imbalance or puberty or anything like that, or it's got nothing to do with like being a condition. It's not a condition, right? It's not an illness, it's not a condition, it's not a weakness, it's not unnatural, it's not a problem, right? Asexuality is natural for some people, it's normal for some people to just not experience that sexual attraction. I don't get the need, urge, or want for partner sexual intercourse, and that's okay, right? Like, just think there's some foods you're not going to like, right? Not everyone likes every food in the world. So it's logical, common sense that not everyone likes, needs, or wants sex. Just like not everyone likes, needs, and wants pizza. Not everyone likes, needs, and wants chocolate cake. Not everyone likes, needs, and wants Brussels sprouts. Do you know what I mean? Like, not everyone gets an innate need, desire, or want for every food on planet Earth, right? So not everyone has the innate need, want, or desire for sex. Like, for me personally, I don't, because I'm a sex repulsed asexual, I don't even see the point in having sex. Other than people want to procreate, fine. I get that. You might want to procreate naturally rather than a test tube and have a baby. But other than that, I don't see a need for sex, personally. Because I'm like, what? Why? And sex has got nothing to do with emotional connection. It hasn't got to do with lifestyle compatibility, really. But obviously, you know, if a person's having a lot of sex, a person's having non-sex, it does affect their lifestyle. But it's not, you're not going to like magically be educated or have intellectual stimulation by having sex. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't personally see a need for it, but that's because I'm asexual. I lack sexual attraction. I don't think it's necessary. I think it's very unnecessary in movies. And I can see why people want it to keep the human species alive. If they want to do it in that way, I can understand that, even though but there is a caveat to this, because I'm a hyper kisser and I love kissing and couldn't be without kissing. Then I understand from that point of view why some people love sex and couldn't be without sex, because I can't be without kissing. So I have to like understand that there are other sexual orientations where they love sex as much as I love kissing. And I could not be in a relationship without kissing, even if the guy was really nice, because I would feel like I'm depriving myself of something that's fundamentally a need in me because I'm a hyper kisser. And I understand there are some people that feel that sex is a fundamental need of theirs in a relationship, and they would feel like repressed or, you know, and not themselves if they didn't do that, and they would be holding themselves back. I can't not be without kissing in a relationship. Like I said, I even kiss myself to satisfy my kissing need, because that's how much I need it, right? I don't want to be in a relationship where I'm not kissing, right? That's not the same for every asexual. Some asexuals don't want kissing or don't need it in a relationship, or need very little of it, right? I have to make that clear, right? I'm the exception, not the rule. Jonathan, also compassion with different romantic orientations too. Yes. I did talk about people on the asexual spectrum being romantic and non-romantic. Like, I'm a hyper-romantic, but I do understand some people don't experience any romantic attraction whatsoever. Now, there are romantic and non-romantic asexuals, but there are also romantic and non-romantic other sexual orientations. So, for example, you could get a heterosexual that experiences no romantic attraction. They just experience sexual attraction. And in my personal experience of my research, I don't actually like that combination, because the aromantic sexuals that I've seen, doesn't mean to say it represents all of them, the ones that lack romantic attraction, but they're sexually attracted. So the heterosexual aromantics, or aromantics, as most people pronounce them, they tend to really need the sex, but don't experience any romantic attraction. They don't want a relationship at all. They just want to hook up and have sex to get that need met, and never have a relationship. I've come across some heterosexuals. There's some on YouTube like this, and in YouTube comments. And aromantic asexuals, still a lot of the time, they want deep companionship and friendship. Not all aromantic asexuals, but some of them want deep bestest ever friendship. They want to hug and stuff like this. They want some kind of emotional connection still. Some type of connection. And I think they're warmer. In my personal experience, that doesn't necessarily mean to say it's actually universal, that, right? I'm just saying. So yeah. Were you referring to opting to not travel, Sandra? Oh, so some of what you're saying was to do with traveling, was it? Right. I mean, I still travel in the UK, like to London. Like I told you, I'm going to for my birthday to London. So I'll still go to that, but I'm not interested in traveling as a thing, like going to foreign countries. I only go to Eurostar to Disneyland Paris. I haven't been for over 2 years to that because I broke bones in my spine. I can go on theme parks next month though. Like, the doctor at the hospitals approved me to go back on theme park rides. So on my birthday, I am going to Chessington World of Adventures that I haven't been to for 2 years minus 2 days. Because I broke my spine on the April 28th and I last went on Chessington World of Adventure rides on April 26th. And I can't wait. I hope my spine's going to be all right. The doctor thinks it is. So he's signed me to do that. You know, he's given me written permission to do that. So, Jonathan, I love theme park rides. I do too. The Hugster, yes. When you said referring to opting out of not traveling, I don't know the references you made to that. So, I didn't know you were talking about that, but thank you for explaining that. And if I missed the reference, what you were talking about, then I didn't understand. Sorry about that. But yeah, so I love theme park rides. I actually saw someone in Badu, not really my type, who said, oh, my ideal first date would be on a theme park ride, to come off it and then go, yeah, let's go on it again. And I did think about messaging that guy because I'm like, oh, I love first date theme park rides. I love theme parks, but he's like British and it's not exactly my type. And yeah. But I did think maybe I should message him going, oh, I love that date, you know, but I don't think I have much else in common with him. But yeah, I was thinking, oh, the first person I've seen on a dating site that actually talks about theme parks like it's a necessary part of their life. But, you know, if I'd have had a person who had to do theme parks the last 2 years, I wouldn't have been able to do them because of my spine breakage, you know. I do that just for the sake of theme parks. Forget the date part. Yes. Yeah. Yeah, I love theme park. Well, I'm going on my own to Chessington. I'm not going with anyone. In 2024, when I last went on them 2 days before I broke my spine, I was on my own as well. So I'm on my own for my birthday. Like, no one's joining me. I'm in London 3 days for my birthday and treating myself to 2 nights, 3 days in London. So I got a huge itinerary plan for myself. But actually, on my birthday day, I want to go to Chessington World of Adventures. So I'm going to the theatre the night before, Zoo the day after, and I'll probably go to Shrek, Adventureland, and Paddington Experience probably again the day before. I'm packed. I'm packed, people. I love being packed. I'm like, yay. I usually come home and go to sleep after the holiday because I don't get much sleep on holiday. I don't get much rest. So Hugster, Duke, thank you for paying attention to the fact that I'm not usually into travel. I do appreciate you listening to that. Sorry if I didn't understand your references. I do appreciate people listening to my conversation. I don't watch TV and stuff. I do go to the cinema and I do have Disney Plus, but I don't actually watch TV. I don't have a TV license. I gave up TV years ago. So if anyone makes any reference to something that's been on TV or a lot of history stuff I don't know about because I'm not into history either. There's a lot of stuff I'm not into. I'm like very specific in what I like. Like I like modern stuff and I like a lot of Disney movies, a lot of Pixar, superhero movies. I do like I'm hyper romantic, but I didn't used to watch many romances. But in the last couple of years, I've been watching loads of romantic movies. I'm not sure that's a good thing though, because it does kind of set my hyper romanticism off more in some ways. And then other times it satisfies me that, oh, at least even though it's just acting, you know, like at least it's some romance, extra romance in my life. But I'm, you know, I date myself every week usually at the cinema. So I enjoyed my self-date this weekend. I try to go as much as I can on that. But if I'm really, really sick, obviously I can't. But yeah, most people aren't even going to be familiar with aromanticism. So I do try to talk about it along with asexuality, even though I'm allo-romantic. Thank you for explaining that, Hugster. I appreciate it. Yeah, so I tend to use the word asexual and sexual. Some people are like, why are you using the word sexual? I'm like, because sexual people don't understand a lot of the other words. Like most people who are not on the LGBT plus spectrum or not asexual don't even know what the word allo-romantic means. That's why I say people are romantic or non-romantic, because people can understand that universal language. I use a lot of universal language. And I try and break things down into more simple terms for people so they can understand it. Like within the grey part of the asexual spectrum, there's loads of subcategories. Do you know what I mean? There's phrasexual, for example. Do you know what I mean? So, and there's Ace Flux as well, and I could go on and on the list. And there's like lots of different subtypes, but I don't want to confuse people. Do you know what I mean? No worries. Keeping up with chat and your own content presentation is a challenge. Yeah, it is. It takes a lot of skill to talk and then modify and read the chat myself in real time. It is quite difficult. So thank you for bearing with me. If I have missed people's comments, I know there was one disgusting comment I removed earlier because it's got nothing to do with the stream. I mean, actually disgusting, as you probably saw, to do with my toilet habits. It's like, I'm like, it's got nothing to do with it. If they want to be polite, all they have to say is, "Don't you need the toilet?" Because, you know, I've live streamed for over an hour, and actually I do somewhat need the toilet. But, you know, to say the thing they did is it's irrelevant. People, do people want to know that? No, they don't. So yeah. So what was I saying? So yeah, so I do tend to keep things. So people say, oh yeah, allosexual. So I've had quite a few. Well, not quite a few, not recently, but in the past I've had people going, like, why aren't you calling people allosexual, like non-asexuals allosexual? I'm like, because people who are not asexual don't understand the term allosexual. It's not something they use in their everyday life. I thought I was heterosexual for years of my life, which is why I'm very good at talking about asexuality in a way that heterosexuals, the majority population, relate to, because I talk like universal language, like non-romantic and romantic. That's something everyone can understand regardless of sexual orientation. So I don't usually very often use the word allosexual when I'm talking, because like heterosexuals don't know what that means. Do you know what I mean? They don't know what that means. And most people don't know, who are outside the asexual community or outside the LGBT plus community, what alloromantic means. Do you know what I mean? They just know romantic and non-romantic. So that's why I use this type of language, because I thought I was heterosexual for years. I believe I'm really qualified and experienced to be able to bridge the gap between asexuals and heterosexual understanding. I find that I don't fit into a tight, little, neat asexual box, but it's challenging for me sometimes being that way. It's difficult for me because I don't have anyone that's identical to me in the asexual community, like with my specific type of asexuality, if you like. You know, the fact that I'm a hyperkisser. Like, I don't even know if anyone of any sexual orientation, or even heterosexuals, usually can kiss as long. Well, they can kiss. They have kissed me as long as I've kissed them, obviously, but they wouldn't usually do that, and they really need sex during that time. Like, I've had guys saying, how are you not holding yourself back? Like, when I'm kissing you, like, why are you holding yourself back from basically having sex? I'm like, I'm not holding myself back. I honestly don't feel that way. Like, you can kiss me for hours and I'll never want sex with you. And to a heterosexual person, that's probably like torture sometimes. But it requires a guy to be very disciplined as well. Like, it's good for their discipline, right? It's like discipline themselves not to have sex. But, you know, asexuality is not the same as suppression or repression as well, which is very important. Like, if some heterosexual guys are holding themselves back from having sex, that's like they're suppressing and repressing what they really want to do. Some people choose to hold themselves back because they want to abstain. They want to be celibate for whatever reason. And they want to be disciplined in that way. They get, they get their most satisfaction out of not doing that on purpose. But for asexuals, we're not suppressing or repressing ourselves because we don't feel that way in the first place. I did come across someone who said they're asexual, who did talk about suppression and repression. And I was thinking, that's not what asexuality is. I need to be very clear about this. Asexuality is not suppressing and repressing your need, urge, or want for sex. If you have the need, urge, or want for sex, and you have that innate need, desire, and want, you experience sexual desire and sexual attraction, not asexual. Like, if it's okay if you experience sexual attraction, you experience sexual desire at the normal time. Do you know what I mean? I'm not talking about someone who's a grey asexual spectrum that might experience it infrequently or rarely. But, I come across someone who's going, they're suppressing and repressing their urge. And that's not asexuality. You shouldn't be suppressing and repressing yourself. I'm not suppressing and repressing. I'm full on with my kissing. You know what I mean? It's just I don't like to be touched in certain places. I'm like I've even had DJs in nightclubs going, "Oh, you two get a room," because they think I really want sex because of my behaviour. I openly admit I do have some sexual behaviour where I like to kiss and dance, but I have absolutely zero sexual attraction. I'm gonna have to drink some water. Zero sexual attraction, but it makes people believe or think that I want sex because of the way I behave. But I have zero sexual attraction. I just like to be free in my energy, in my kissing aura, in the way I dance. I like dancing sexily sometimes. I don't know, some people might not think my dancing sexy, it's just nice. Do you know what I mean? But some people, I guess, find it sexy. I don't know. Sometimes the way I swing my hips, but that's up for debate, you know. But it doesn't matter. My point is that I'm not actually interested in having sex. I haven't, and so it's hard because body language doesn't necessarily work with asexual. So when someone's trying to read body language, my body language would make it look like I want sex, right? So if you're getting a psychology expert, they'd be like, oh, you know, the way she's pointing inwards at that guy, the way she's kissing him makes it look, you know, like she wants sex, and I actually don't. And so that's why it's very difficult, because asexuals, although we have universal needs in common with other sexual orientations, we can be different in terms of our behavior is not universally the same as other people's in its intention. So that makes it quite hard. So I have to make it quite clear to a guy, like, I might have some sexual behavior with you, but I want you to know I do not want sex, because for him, it's very difficult sometimes because he's seeing all these signs like, oh my God, she's kissing me more and more. She, you know, she's, you know, like, I don't mind bodies intertwined with clothes on. That's how close I'm okay and comfortable with my clothes on, with the hands behind my back. But I'm very, you know, particular about not being touched in other places. So unless I explain this to a guy, he'll just think it's a come on, and he'll just be like, oh, she clearly wants sex with me. And it's like, I don't. So I have to say this. Obviously, in nightclubs, it's difficult sometimes. I just usually have to start saying, don't touch me there. And the guys are like, why? I know, because I don't like it. I'm not interested in it. And I usually have to say, you know, I don't like sex, or I don't like to be touched. So it depends how the conversation goes. Yeah, aloe, it's like a cisgender for folks who aren't transgender or non-binary. Yeah, again, like, some people don't know what cisgender means. So I'm cisgender because I was assigned female at birth. I identify as female. Do you know what I mean? So I try to keep language as inclusive as possible. So, like, some people don't use the word cis. Do you know what I mean? So it depends, like, you know what I mean? I think both languages need to be respected, really. So do you know what I mean? Because some people are like, well, I was born female, but trans people are like, that's not a good thing to say. It's not good. So you need to say cis female if you you know, assigned female at birth, you know, and identify like that. So but, you know, like, heterosexuals won't be saying that because it's not the language they usually use. So, you know, unless they might use it if they're talking about someone else and they understand what cisgender means. So it's kind of hard because we have to be universally respectful of everyone and different sexual orientations and different genders, you know. So, and I think it's fine for people to be transgender, non-binary, gender fluid, you know, demi-boy, demi-girl. There's lots of different variations of different identities you could have. Also, I talk about hermaphrodite, you know, intersex people. There's not many people that talk about intersex people. So someone came on my channel, Liz, actually. Liv, not Liz, Liv. I think it's Liv. Yeah, so yeah, Liv. So basically, under one of our other channels, and she says, oh, so there's not just male and female. I'm like, no, there's always been intersex people as well. That used to be known as hermaphrodites. So intersex people have genitalia that's male and female together, right? So there's always been more than just male or female. There's always been intersex people that existed. So people are wrong when they say there's just two genders anyway, before a lot of people became aware of transgender and non-binary people. There's always, years and years ago, been people who are intersex as well. I think that's important to note. Hi from Russia, I totally agree. Can I ask you a question? It depends if the question's respectful or not. I'm taking respectful questions, but if it's being rude, then no. So you can ask your question and I'll see if I want to answer it. I'm open a lot, but I don't, I don't need to get into the really specific, like, very minute details. I think I share a lot more than other people do on other channels. Do you know what I mean? Most people don't talk about things as in depth as I talk about. So it depends what your question is. It's really weird when someone says, can I ask a question? It's like, well, I don't know what your question is, do I? So you can ask it, but if I, keep it respectful. So going back, so on this channel, I try to talk a lot about the, what people understand the language. But yes, intersex people really do exist. They're part of the LGBT plus QIA. They're the A, not the A, sorry, the I. LGBT plus QIA, they're the I. A is for asexual, I intersex, right? So intersex people have always existed, but a lot of people weren't even aware of that. So when I see debates, online or wherever about gender, one is you shouldn't eradicate someone's gender. If someone identifies as non-binary, gender fluid, transgender, demi-boy, demi-girl, or however they want to identify and relate to and feel they are, then that's not for another person to dismiss or not accept. We need to accept other people for who they are. But I want to make a point that there has always been people who are intersex. So there's male, female genitalia, and there's a combination of both, which used to be called hermaphrodite. There's intersex now, So I think that's very, very important to know that, to know these people exist. And, it's difficult sometimes. There are channels dedicated to intersex people, but it's not much talked about. And some people, some parents of intersex people, as far as I know from the intersex person I used to talk to years ago, and my knowledge is that, some parents, they decide what gender they want to make the baby by removing the other part of the genitalia. So they might decide, well, I just want this baby to have, they think the genitalia makes their gender, right? Traditionally people think that it's genitalia that makes a gender, whereas nowadays, people know that their genitalia doesn't mean to make their gender. Like if they were having male parts, for example, they might not identify as male if they got a male genitalia. Do you know what I mean? But some parents, from my understanding, some parents actually choose whether that intersex person is male or female by getting the baby to have an operation, removing the other part of the genitalia. And I think that's quite hard. I think really that, I don't know what intersex people feel about that, but I think a lot, from what I understand, I haven't interviewed intersex people before. I have done some research and listened to some intersex people. From what I understand, I mean, that's it's really, I think, good if they decide for themselves later on, like, do they want to have male or all female genitalia, or just keep it as it is? Do you know what I mean? That they are who they are and they're intersex. And so I haven't come across anyone personally who's got a relationship with an intersex person. So I don't know how that works sexually. For the people who are intersex and not asexual who are having sex. So I don't know that. I know the answer to that question, but I know they're valid just as much as anyone else in life. And I really respect people having different, makeups of their body. We're all different. We've all got different things to do with our body. And there's always been people who aren't just male or female in that respect. And I think that needs to be more broadly acknowledged, because there's quite a lot of disillusionment in the world with people just thinking there's male or female genitalia. People don't even know that intersex people exist. And so I feel for them, it's like they're not even talked about or known about. It's like, and asexuals do feel that sometimes too. We feel like we're invisible sometimes, Like I talk openly about asexuality. I spread asexual awareness wherever I go. But, it was termed the invisible orientation by an asexual person called Sandra Decker. She was the first person to publish a book on asexuality. And, she calls it the invisible orientation because a lot of people don't even notice that we're different, that we're asexual. They don't even know about asexuality. They don't even know it exists. And I didn't for years. I thought it was heterosexual for years. And I thought it was the only person in 2014, I thought it was the only person that didn't want or have the urge for sex. I mean, if you don't know my personal story, in 2014, I went to see a counsellor because I wanted to have romance and kissing in a relationship, but I didn't want sex. And she said the worst thing she could have possibly said to me. She said, you're going to have sex in order to keep a good guy. And I was absolutely mortified. Just imagine you've been to a counsellor for some help and then that's what they said to you. It's like the worst thing she could have possibly said. It was very unsupportive. And to have that message that I've got to have sex in order for a guy to be good to me, I mean, that's just so damaging to me, and to anyone in that position. You shouldn't have to have sex with someone in order for someone to respect you and be good and kind to you and loving. So that just sends a damaging message to society as a whole, And I was just so distraught that I went home and Googled, I love kissing, but not sex. And that's when it came up, asexuality.org, which is the biggest online forum for asexuals. And I was so relieved when I found out there's other people like me who don't get the need, urge, or want for partnerless sexual intercourse and who want romantic relationships without sex. Obviously, there's some asexuals, a lot of asexuals that are non-romantic, that don't want sex either. So, and they don't want romantic relationships. But I was happy to find some people like me who did want romance, but without the sex, because often people tie romance and sex together. And so, it just felt so good, And I was just so happy to find other people like me. And when you find other people like you, it's like a weight's been lifted off you, and it just feels so comforting. And I realized then that I didn't have to settle for less than I deserved. I didn't have to settle for having sex because I have to. And I just couldn't do it anymore anyway. I was dating a really aesthetically hot Bangladeshi guy in 2013, and I just couldn't bring myself to have sex with him, even though I was super aesthetically attracted to him. And that's when I knew something was different about me. And so, and then that led on to seeing the counsellor the next year. And here I am for over a decade now, helping asexuals on this channel. So, I've been asked to do a asexual focus workshop for Extra Pride this year. So that's the first time I've ever been asked to do that in my life. So at the moment, I'm talking to them about that. It's going to be an asexuality confidence and self-love workshop. So for a very, very limited number of spaces, that's going to be announced probably in the next couple of weeks. So yes, I'm very excited about that, but it hasn't been 100% finalized yet in the paperwork side of things. So, and I've been poorly, so they need me to get in by a certain deadline, but I've been ill, so that's held me back a bit from doing that. But it'll be really, really small group of limited people, limited places, So if you're interested in that, it's in the UK, by the way, in my city of Exeter. So in person and very limited. Do pop me an email, because I'll be having the form for that, the form to register for that, but it's only for people who can get to Exeter on the 9th of May and who want that workshop and who it's very limited. are still having trouble finding mackerel in supermarkets. What's that? Sanjeev, is that your name? Sounds very Indian. Yes, I am still having trouble finding mackerel in supermarkets. It's got nothing to do with the topic of this chat, but yes, I am still having trouble. So mackerel helps to ease my pain. In case you didn't know that, I have fibromyalgia, which is a chronic pain condition that affects the nerves and muscles of the body. I do have a book on the subject. It actually sells well. 1 month last year, I sold like 18 copies of this in a day. So yeah, do get a copy. It's really good, even to reduce pain in your life. It's very good. Even if you don't have fibromyalgia, it's autobiographical. Fibromyalgia self-help handbook. And the food that helps me the most to ease my pain is mackerel. And it seems there's a shortage of mackerel that's not smoked in the UK. It's ironically that you can still find quite a lot of smoked mackerel in supermarkets, but not actual mackerel with no smoke. Now, mackerel smoked is not actually very healthy from my research in terms of it being carcinogenous. So some things that are smoked, if you eat them a lot, they're carcinogenous, they're possibly cancer causing. That's not medical advice. Do your own research. I'm not a medical practitioner. I'm not a dietitian or a doctor, right? But I try to not have the smoked if I can help it. Occasionally I do. Christmas I usually do because I go with my parents, but even it's harder for me to digest it anyway, to be honest. So I can get digestive repercussions from that. But yeah, so it's really hard. Like Tesco in my city don't have it anymore in the city centre. They just don't sell it in two Tesco supermarkets. And Sainsbury's, the last time I got some from Sainsbury's, their online website, they got 4 was what turned up. I ordered more than 4. I ordered 12. I think it was 11 or 12. And they couldn't deliver that. So they just sent 4. So yeah, it's really hard. But Sainsbury's has a lot of smoked mackerel. So yeah, so in terms of relationships, I have disabilities, and obviously that is going to impact any relationship I have as well. So when we're talking about broad needs, I think people who are disabled, they do have extra. People who are disabled or who've got special needs, autistic, I think, like I said, there's universal needs in a relationship. I think when you've got, you fall into different categories, like I said, disabilities or autism or special needs, any of those, then, it can obviously impact your relationships with others. And then you have extra needs on top for finding someone suitable for a relationship. Like I've got to have a guy who's fine and about the fact I'm not going to be doing housework for him. I'm not going to be cooking for him. I'm not going to be cleaning for him. Like, if he's not okay with that and can't do it himself, then, and he thinks that's what a woman should do for him, I'm not his girl. I'm not interested in housework at all. It hurts me doing my own housework. It takes me all my time, energy, and a long time to do any housework. What takes someone 10 minutes will take me like 40, 50 minutes or whatever. Do you know what I mean? It's like, I took 2 hours to clean the bathroom, nearly 2 hours. I even had a cleaner come on because I was talking in the video saying, it'd take me a lot longer to do something that someone able-bodied without my disabilities could do easily in shorter time. And this cleaner came on and said, I'm actual cleaner. And, what took me nearly 2 hours would have taken her 30 minutes. I think it was a her. It looked like it. But I better not say gender just in case. Anyway. They said they were a cleaner, and they said it would take them half an hour to do what took me 2 hours basically to do. So yes, do you see what I mean? So that does impact relationships because a lot of people think about equal housework and stuff like I don't want to live with a guy. I prefer to live on my own. I prefer to have my own bills, live in my own place, especially with my disabilities, because I can take care of myself better, like in my own home, without the pressure or expectation to do certain things and live to shared accommodation. So it's much better for me. But, I don't even use a normal oven. I have just a tabletop oven I use. Everything goes in tinfoil trays. Jacket potatoes in the microwave and like vegetables and fish or chicken and turkey in the oven with vegetables on top. Put in tinfoil tray, greaseproof paper, and more greaseproof paper on top, and tinfoil on top. That's it in the oven. Turn it on for an hour. But often, like because of my anxiety and things, I get distracted and forget it's even in the oven. And I have to reheat it. You know what I mean? So that's it. It's people make cooking far too complicated and have loads of pots and pans. I don't use any pots and pans. You can't even fit a pot on top of my small mini oven because there isn't room for it with the lid. With the steam would just hit the cupboard because I'm not interested. I do still own one pan, but I don't use it. I never fry food. Everything goes in the oven. Do you know what I mean? Or microwave. That's it. People just complicate things so much, and it's like I don't need the complication. And I use paper plates instead of dinner plates, and I just chuck them away because it's much better for me. It's less pain, I don't want to be spending hours doing cleaning, which is what happens when I'm doing cleaning, and I don't want to be doing that. It's hard enough looking after myself without looking after that side of things with the guy. He needs to be able to do all that for himself. So, and I know a lot of guys are like, oh, I'm doing this. What are you doing for me? And it's like, I'm not going to be doing that. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just, I'm not interested. I'm not a housewifey type. Do you know what I mean? It's not who I am. And, if something takes a lot of time, energy and effort, it doesn't feel good for me. And I don't want to associate the guy with not feeling good. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, okay, I'll clear up my own mess, but I do not want... But even then, I have to have a dishwasher and a robotic Hoover to help me because I can't do it all the time. Because I'd have no time to do streams like this. I haven't even ate a meal today. Like, I have had no lunch. I've had no evening meal. And it's probably the next day now. Oh, look. It's nearly midnight. So yesterday I had no lunch or evening meal. Like, I'll probably have to have some food after this, But yeah, I did go to some food shopping. I had coaching. And I actually had group coaching in the Love Life Club. I was actually a person speaking on camera with Stephen Hussey, Matthew's brother. So I was really grateful for that. So yeah, I do learn about dating, relationships and things from Love Life Club. So if you didn't know who Matthew Hussey is the number one world's number one top dating relationship confidence life coach. He's been doing it for like about 19, nearly 20 years, I think it is now. You can look him up. He's got over 3 million subscribers on YouTube. I'm part of his Love Life Club. I pay for that yearly. And we have coaching most weeks in the club, exclusively just for club members. And his brother does a lot of the coaching as well. His brother's really good, Stephen Hussey. And so I was having that, which was good for me. And so this is my second year in Love Life Club now. Now, most people go into Love Life Club trying to find the love of their life. And hopefully, maybe eventually I might find that person in terms of relationship. But I'm predominantly in there to work on myself and my personal development and self-development, to learn more about healthy relationships, learn more about attachment styles, learn more about patterns that I need to change within myself, learn more about unhealthy red flags and stuff like that, things I didn't even know before. So it's taught me a lot, and I'm still continuing to learn. There's a lot of courses in there. Some I've bought, some are free. So yeah, I've got a lot to learn. So I see myself being there probably for at least 5 years. This is my second year I'm still in at the moment, but you can win like free membership for a month. So far I've won like 4 months worth of membership by doing various things. I'm like, yay! So I'm great. So I've got 4 months free. Like giving a testimonial. I genuinely like Love Life Club. So for me, it's just like easy to give a testimonial for it because I believe it's really, really good and that people should join. So I won't say anything I don't agree with, but I've managed to get like one was compensation because Matthew AI stopped working for nearly a whole month for me. It barely worked. It was like, because Matthew AI is like Matthew's digital mind when Matthew isn't available, and I barely used it for a whole month, and nearly it's like minus 1 or 2 days. Like basically it wasn't it was just like 7 or 11-minute conversations with it because it kept timing out and lots of other bugs. So they gave me that as compensation, which was really good of them. I did ask for that. And then like 3 other times I won it by giving just different testimonials and things. One of which Matthew read out on his live coaching, which is really nice. I captured it on camera that moment and put it in a video here. So video camera rather than photos. So yeah. But it's really nice to be in there. I am learning a lot. I've still got to work on myself. And obviously, not everyone gets their questions answered. This is the second time I've been live now. And usually they give time to new people. So when I first came in, I had like devoted time, but this I've since. So, you know what I mean? So it's my second time I've gone live, but usually they dedicate time to the newbies, but people are having a lot of problems like actually getting into the session and staying in it. There's some technical glitch, and I was consistent because I was on my laptop. So luckily they were able to give me some time, which was good. Very good for me because I really needed to speak to the coach because the AI is great. It's really good, but sometimes you just need to talk to a human. So that's why on this channel I'm human. I'm here. I'm raw, real, authentic. I ad lib. I don't script these videos. I don't put a perfectly polished thumbnail out. And I just sit here and have a chat with you. We need more connection like this. We need people that are authentic and real, especially in the world of AI. I mean, people are, like falling in love with AI. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I could probably fall in love with an AI, robot, humanoid, particularly. So, because I'm not interested in sex, I have zero sexual attraction. I love robots. I've always had a fascination with robots since being a kid. I'd like an Indian robot, really. Hey, there we go. But do you know what I mean? More and more people are using AI in videos and making up influencers, and they're making up people that aren't even real, and people are falling in love with like, digital AIs. Loads of people are. And so there is going to be, and there already is, a demand for people like me who are doing raw, real, authentic content where we just hang out as human beings and connect. We're not all perfect. We've all got differences. We're not going to agree on everything. Do you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, we're here, we're alive, and we're connecting through like miles and miles apart, through miles and miles of oxygen, airwaves, whatever you want to call it, brainwaves, brainwaves across the universe, radio waves, internet, cloud, whatever you want to say. We're all connecting here, which is a beautiful thing, I think. That's why I like doing live streams, because it's a way of feeling connected. And I think people, because I've got, fibromyalgia as a disability, it means I can't go out as much as I would like to. And so, I think for people who've got disabilities or are just like for introverts as well, it's nice to be able to connect online. It's a blessing, really. And I think it's really important to have that connection, because there is a loneliness epidemic these days. There are more and more people that are lonely than ever before and who feel alone, and like I'm predominantly alone on my own. Like, I'm used to living on my own. I've lived on my own for a lot of my life now, but I still need connection. I'm still a human being that needs connection. I need connection to other human beings. It's a natural feeling and want and need to connect with other people, even if they're different to me. And so I think we must all remember, most of us, I'm not going to say everyone, because some people will be adamant they don't want any connection. But then I'd argue, well, why are you even here on YouTube? I'm not saying there's anyone in the chat like this tonight, but I've had someone that's like, oh, I don't want to connect to anyone. I don't want anyone to know me. It's like, well, why are you here on YouTube then? In my mind, I'm thinking that, of course, you're here because you want to feel connected. You want to feel part of something. Even if you want to tell yourself you don't, it's like, well, you wouldn't be here on YouTube. You wouldn't be watching someone. You wouldn't be in chat if you didn't want some connection of some sort. Or you could want attention rather than connection, I guess. You could like having attention, but isn't attention partly due to like you want to feel something connected to people in some way? Do you know what I mean? Maybe it's not a emotional connection, but you want to be people to know you're there, if you know what I mean. So you're looking for some sort of thing from other people, some sort of awareness of you, if you like. And I think, we only have a short time on planet Earth, and I think people do want to feel like they mean something. People do want to feel like they're in something, they're here with people. And that's one thing I really do love about the internet. They can connect people of all different walks of life, of all different genders, different sexual orientations, different ethnicities. it can connect people who wouldn't usually even speak to each other in ways that they never even imagined. And I think that's a beautiful thing. I think when we start to see people as people rather than their sexual orientation or their gender, I think that's a beautiful thing. You know, obviously I don't mean to ignore it or dismiss it like, you know, it's not important. Of course it is. But I mean, like I said, we're all universally wanting the same sorts of things in terms of love and connection, meaning, purpose in our lives, to feel like we matter, to feel like we mean something, to feel something. You know, I know some people are checked out. You get some people are just kind of checked out of life. They're just going along with emotions and they're very checked out. I understand there are those types of people in the world. But, you know, even some of those people, they'll watch a lot of television. Why? Because they still want to be connected in some way, even if it's to fictitious people or news people. They want to have their say. Some people shout at the TV. You know, some people interact with the television. Because it's a way of interacting and connecting, even if it's not necessarily the most healthiest way, because obviously we're supposed to be connecting with people in real life as much as possible, which isn't always possible if you've got disabilities or you're very introverted and like to stay in a lot, you know. But, you know, we all desire human connection, you know. How, you know, if you've got a postman, he comes up and gives you a smile and says, "Here's your post." You're like, "Ah, that's nice." A nice friendly face, you know. So if you see someone a road sweep, you know, but they make eye contact with you and you're like, "Oh, hi," you know what I mean? It's a connection. All these are like connection points. The checkout operator's a connection point. Librarian's a connection point. Person selling you a loaf of bread's a connection point. We're all connected. Do you know what I mean? So, and, you know, in talking about supermarkets, you know, you can find the love of your life in a supermarket. I haven't done yet, but I do talk to some guys in supermarkets sometimes. Chat them up. Doesn't happen very often. But yeah, you know, like you can flirt with people in, like, people think like because you're asexual you can't flirt. Some asexuals can flirt. I know how to flirt, if you want to call it flirting. Do you know what I mean? And you can chat people up in supermarkets as well. Chat people up over mackerel. It's interesting. No, I haven't actually done that. I've been too busy focused on getting mackerel for my personal health. But do you know what I mean? Like, there was a guy earlier I did speak to in the supermarket, but he wasn't interested. I just said to him, because I was like, "Oh, am I in your way with the potatoes?" Like, I take ages to choose potatoes. It's like a military operation for me. And he's like, "Oh, right, okay." And then off he went. So it doesn't always work. But, you know, you can but try. You can talk to people wherever, you know, and make connection and contact. You know, just chatting to a person. Like, that might have been like not chatting someone up. It might have just been friendly banter, right? It depends what's in your mind when you're doing it. Like, would I be interested in dating this person? Would I be interested in talking more to this person? Would I be interested in spending more time with this person? Or am I just interested in chatting to a person because I want a bit of connection in the moment? You know, it's all about intentionality. Like, what is your intention with people? Intentionality is something that people don't really look into that much. They don't really focus on, but it's very important to decide what your intention is. And sometimes you don't know your intention because you just met someone, right? So you might not have any intention. You might just be chilling and in the moment. That's okay too. But I think it's very important to like be self-aware, like analyze why you do the things you do, what your needs are, what your boundaries are, and what your intentions are as well, you know? Anyway, I'm going to love you and leave you for now because I've been streaming for just over 200 minutes, according to my YouTube live feed. And I want to thank you for being here. I want to thank everyone who's been in chat, who's been a huge contributor to this channel tonight. Thank you for all the questions. Thanks for all the thumbs up. If you haven't already given this video a thumbs up, please do. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon so you get notified of every time I go live. Right now, I'll post a new video. A lot of my lives are educational. Sometimes I do movie reviews though, and non-sex movie reviews usually, or no sex movie reviews. And then I do a lot of lifestyle vlogs. So you can see me vlog each day usually about something that I get up to in my day. Check out my books on Amazon, Asexual Perspectives, 47 Asexual Stories. It's a good, interesting book. It's all about love, life, and sex from an asexual point of view. Fibromyalgia Self-Help Handbook. how to manage fibromyalgia, have less pain, more energy, and feel happier like a superhero rock star. Yes, it's told in a superhero style. And this on the back is my superhero costume. Ace Fiber Girl. And then don't forget to grab a copy of Diary Confessions of a Hyper-Romantic Asexual, 78 Life Lessons to Ace Your Life, also on Amazon. So yeah, thank you for being here. Lots of love to you. Stay ace. I'll see you soon next video live stream. Take care. And don't forget to have compassion. Be kind and respectful to one another's orientations. Lots of love. Bye.